It's Gabe and I'm here to do a Q&A. I put it out on Instagram for you guys to leave all your questions, and you guys left a lot of questions. I have over 100 questions and I'm sure I'm not going to get to all of them. I know I'm not going to get to all of them, so I'm going to jump right into it. I'm looking at the Instagram questions. I haven't even gone through these, so I'm just going to kind of randomly pick them. So we'll go with the first one from Tiff Mo Thick. What was your career before you met your husband? Do you enjoy staying at home? By the way, I love your videos. Thanks, girl. So before I met Chad, I was working as executive assistant at a small medical consulting firm, and I was also working as a brand ambassador where I worked at night. So I've been known to have 2 and 3 jobs at a time. My whole life I've always had multiple jobs, because I always had the office job, and then I always had a server position or a brand ambassador position, kind of like the creative job and the office job. That was me. So I was working 8 to 5, and then I would work 9 to sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy. Do I enjoy staying home? Absolutely. I love being here with Siege and my husband, because we both, we work from home now, and it's awesome. It's the best thing ever. I've never really cared for working in an office, so if I never have to go back to an office, I will be happy with that. Working from home is the best. What was your reason for creating a YouTube channel, and what is your ultimate goal career-wise? I started a YouTube channel honestly just as an outlet for myself. I've always kind of been a creative person, and I just wasn't really getting that. I had moved back home from California, and I finally got a MacBook and I had a webcam, so I was like, let me try making YouTube videos. I was watching all of these hair videos and people talking about their weaves and stuff, and I'm like, I could do that. Because at the time I hadn't gone natural yet. I was thinking about it, but I was wearing a lot of different wigs and weaves, so I just started that way, and then it just kind of grew as I grew, and life changed and all that good stuff. I'm not really sure that I have an ultimate career goal yet. There are some things that I want to do that I'm kind of working towards, but just ultimately working for myself. I want to continue to work for myself and build an empire. Pretty Neek asks, what is your dream car? I have always loved Range Rovers. Always loved Range Rovers. And then here recently though, I've really started feeling the BMW 328i, the coupe, the sports coupe 2-door. Oh, that car is beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. But I feel like it's not practical if I'm gonna be a mom with kids. So maybe one day I'll get the Range Rover. I don't know. I don't know if I like them enough now to get them, but I don't know, it was my dream car. So between the Range Rover and the BMW. Pretty Neek also asked, did I go to post-secondary schooling? Yes, I went to undergrad at Tennessee State University in Nashville, and I went to graduate school here at Indiana Wesleyan, the campus in Indianapolis. Of Hair, Curls with Love asks, will you be re-dyeing your hair and keeping it short? No, I don't see myself doing that in the near future. I don't see myself re-dyeing my hair at this point. I'm not even wearing my hair, so I'm just letting it grow. I will never, ever, ever, ever cut my hair again. Lesson learned. And yeah, no, I don't foresee that in the future at all. Oyen Atumbe, did I say that right? I don't know. If you could get another dog or pet, what would it be? I actually would love to get another dog. Babe would like a bigger dog. I would like another lap dog, but I think eventually we will get another dog at some point, probably once we get a house. Okay, so before I go any further, I want to take a pause for the cause to highlight my good friends over at audible.com. You guys know that I love Audible. It's the best thing ever. If you are not listening to audiobooks, you are missing out. I mean, it is the best thing ever, because you can listen to them any and everywhere. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can pop on an audiobook and it doesn't keep you from doing anything. Right now I'm not really listening to anything, but the last book I listened to was a fiction book, and I haven't read a fiction book, a good fiction book, in a long time, and it was called Invisible by James Patterson and David Ellis. James Patterson used to be my absolute favorite author. He is probably still one of my favorite authors. I used to read him a lot when I was younger, and this book is so good. I listened to it, guess a month or so ago. My family and I, we took a trip to Philadelphia, and we drove, so I listened to it like my mom was hooked. She was into it. We listened to it the whole way there. It's like the best book ever. So if you're looking for a good fiction, check it out. Any of James Patterson's books though are pretty good. Like all the ones that I've read, I've loved. So if you have not taken advantage of the free trial that Audible is giving my subscribers, get on it. All you have to do is go to audible.com/fix. You can get 30 days to try out their services. You can pick an audiobook, see if you like it. And the great thing about Audible is that if you're not feeling the book, you can always return it and get something different. So definitely check out Audible, get your trial, get a book, go to audible.com/fix. All right, back to these questions. CJ Faye asks, how do you keep your nails polished for so long? Honestly, I've played around with a few different techniques trying to figure out like no chip manicure and how to get them to last longer. And the thing that I've learned is if you get a really good base coat and a really good top coat, that is like 50% of the problem. Getting a really good base coat, a really good top coat, and then also, this is not something that I do regularly because I forget about it, but if you put a coat of clear on like every other day, that also helps to make the manicure last longer. And if you're washing dishes, wear gloves because that always chips up my nails. When I forget to wear my gloves and I'm washing dishes, it's a wrap. 313261 asks, what are your fitness goals? I have a few different fitness goals. Right now my goal is to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight because I have gained I don't know, I would say a significant amount of weight, but honestly it's only like maybe 10-15 pounds it feels like, and I'm in a place where I haven't been this heavy in a while. So my main goal right now is to get back down to where I was kind of like happy, like my happy weight, and then I'll start working on my goal weight, which is like 25 pounds from that. I know, it's crazy, right? Ultimately though, I would love to run a half marathon and also try my hand at being a bikini competitor. I think it's bikini, like a fitness. I know one is bikini and one is like figure. I'm not sure I want to do figure, but maybe like bikini. I'm not sure. One day, I say that, but that's gonna take a whole lot of discipline. Nisha Lee asks, are you ready for scandals to start and why don't you like Olits? Girl, yes, I'm so excited for a scandal party. Hey, one more week, y'all. I love me some Scandal, okay? And why don't I like Olits? Honestly, I'm not a fan. I love me some Jake. I love Jake, and he's available. Like, why waste your time going after the man that's not available when you have this fine man that's available? Y'all, I'm Team Jake all the way, okay? All the way. Taz M World asks, how do you stay so positive all the time? I am not positive all the time. Like, that is something you should know. Like, I always try to look for the positivity in things, but I have my days. I definitely have my days where I am not feeling it. Yesterday was one of those days. If you watch my vlog, well, Wednesday was one of those days. And I just, you know, I have those days, but in everything, I always try to look for the positivity in it. Like, what is the positive of this? Because, you know, life could be so much worse. Like, when I find myself getting down and beating myself up or feeling sorry for myself or just, you know, having one of those days that we all have, I think about how somebody doesn't have it as well as I do. You know, there's somebody out there that's going through way worse than what I'm so upset about. So, you know, that kind of always brings me back. Like, it could always be so much worse, and I'm blessed. You know, I'm grateful for that. You know, life is good. So those things start to bring me back when I find myself being a Debbie Downer or getting real negative. But I'm not always positive. Like, we always try to put out positivity just because we feel like there's so much negativity out there that people want to be uplifted when they come and see us. They don't want to see a bunch of drama or a bunch of negativity. So we just try to do our best to leave that out. Doesn't mean that we don't have, you know, struggles or that we don't have our days where we're not feeling it, but you know, it doesn't last long because I always like pep talk myself out of it or pray, and you know, I think that it could be so much worse. Like, my pick better than yours asks, do you ever listen to Drake? Yes, I really like Drake. I don't listen to him like on the regular. But yeah, I listen to him every now and then. I got some Drake in my iTunes now. True 80s baby 83. Hey girl, hey. She says, serious question, do you have a ratchet side, like random twerking or listening to trap music like Future or Migos? I imagine you being classy with a splash of ratchetness, like a perfect margarita. Hey girl, yes, I listen to ratchet music, trap music. I got all of that on a playlist somewhere in Spotify or iTunes. Like, I have my moments where I get, you know what I'm saying, where I get crunk. Like, I feel like everybody has that ratchet side. If somebody tells you they don't have a ratchet side, you have to give them the side eye. We don't believe you. We need more people. But yes, I do have a ratchet side. I love all types of music. So you will find any and everything on my playlist, okay? It comes out every now and then. To the maxes, what is the most embarrassing thing you ever did? That is a good question. What's the most embarrassing thing? I'm trying to think. I feel like I've done a whole lot of embarrassing things, like a whole lot of embarrassing things. Let's see. Oh, you guys, and this is crazy. I can't even believe I'm about to share this, but I got drunk at a company Christmas party. And it was probably the most embarrassing. It was the most embarrassing thing ever in life. Like, literally, I was like, not even, you know, like tipsy. We had this, it was a small company, so we were at like somebody's house for the Christmas dinner or whatever, and I brought my best friend Justin with me. I had just broken up with my boyfriend at the time, the guy that I thought that I was gonna marry, and I was just gone. I was so gone. They had a party bus. So what happened was, let me give you the whole story. They had like a party bus pick everybody up from their house to take us to the employee's house that we were having the party at, because they lived really, really far, and I was like the first stop. So they picked me up and they had wine on the party bus, and then once we got to the house for the Christmas like dinner party, they had wine there and they had like mixed drinks, and I was at a point where I just wasn't in a good place. It didn't even matter that I was around co-workers. Like, I don't even know where my head was, because I look at that moment like, seriously, Gabrielle, is that what you do with your life? Like, it was so embarrassing to the fact that, you know, it was a Friday. So then that Monday I had to like come in and apologize to my co-worker and to my bosses, because it was a for real situation. Like, I was like drunk, like sick drunk. It was so embarrassing. And honestly, like, that was kind of the beginning of a bad period in my life. It's just something that I've never really talked about, but I did kind of go through maybe like a 6-7 month period where I just was drinking a lot, just going out a lot, and just kind of coping. I was going through this horrible breakup, and I'm not gonna say that that was the reason why. Like, I can't even use that as an excuse. I just was in a really bad place, and this was actually like that December up until like, I don't know, probably up until I met Babe. Honestly, like the December right before I met him, I was just in a really bad place, and that's a testimony for a whole nother day. I eventually hit rock bottom, and it's something that I don't really talk about just because I've never brought it up, but that was one of the most embarrassing things that led to a series of other embarrassing situations until it just was really bad. So yeah. Good question though. Love Train 14 asks, was it a conscious decision to wait to your late 20s or early 30s to get married? That's a good question. It was not a conscious decision. I always wanted to be married really early, and I wanted to have kids early. I wanted to be done having kids before I was 30. Like, I didn't get married until I was 29. Well, 29? Yeah, I think we was 29 when we got married. 2011? Yeah, we were 29. We had just turned 29 like 2 months before we were married because my husband and I were the same age. And honestly, like the relationship I was in before I was with Chad, I thought that that was going to be my husband. Like that relationship started as soon as I moved back from LA. It was kind of one of the reasons I moved back, honestly, because I was about to start this relationship with someone that I had dated previously. Like he was already an ex, and that should have been sign number one. And yeah, I just knew he was gonna be my husband. Like you couldn't tell me that we weren't going to be married. And then at that time I was what, 24, I think. So I was ready. Like I was ready to get married and settle down and have kids, and I thought that that was on the path that I was on. So no, getting married at 29 was definitely not a conscious decision, but honestly it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me that I didn't get married in that previous situation, because honestly I wasn't ready. If I go back and just think about where I was, just in the place that I was not ready to be anybody's wife. So, God always knows best, and, it happened the way that it was supposed to happen. And that's not to deter anybody from getting married young. I feel like it's different for everyone. I think that when you're mature enough and when you're ready to actually make that huge commitment, because marriage is not something that you go into lightly. So I'm very, very grateful that it happened the way that it happened for me. Love Train also had another question. Was there any struggle, correct me if I'm wrong, having had a long distance relationship and not having spent more than a week or so at a time physically together before getting married and moving in together? That's a good question too, because if you're not familiar, my husband and I, our whole courtship was long distance. Like even up through our engagement was long distance. We never lived in the same city at the same time until after we were husband and wife. And a lot of people look at me crazy like, what? That's unheard of in this day and age, where people are like moving in together and living together and all of that stuff. But it was difficult at first. I feel like the first month of our marriage was the hardest for me. Not even so much of like getting used to him, like, because once you're married and you get used to living with someone new, it's difficult because you have to learn each other's quirks, and one person likes to do things this way, the other person likes to do things that way. But that wasn't really that bad for me. I think the biggest thing for me was where we were. We were in a very, very small town. I quit my job. I, left my apartment behind, moved all the way to this small town with my husband. And I think that was the biggest adjustment for me. So the struggle was kind of because we were, doing this for the first time. But honestly, I think the location had the biggest thing to do with it. So I really wholeheartedly believe that you can live in a relationship and not live with the person before you get married. Like I don't feel like it's a prerequisite. I don't feel like you have to do that, because it's very possible to live together after you get married, and it's fine. Like of course it's an adjustment, but it's fun. Like that's the part of being a newlywed and figuring all that stuff out. Like that's the fun part. So yeah, it's possible. It's a little struggle, but it doesn't last long. Tarita Chambers asked, is the Gabe wig still available? Yes, go get the Gabe wig. It is still available at TonyDaily.com. I'll put a link in the description box. Go get it. Okay guys, that was the last question. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Hopefully this won't be too long. I answered a whole lot of questions, and I'm not really sure which ones are going to make it because I have so many questions that I answered. So I'll probably come back and do this in a couple of weeks, answering more of your questions, because I have a plenty to choose from. If you have any more questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. Leave them down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.